good offense. I mean, I think they have some talented players. It's just inconsistency that plagues them. Because at times, we've seen them this year.
That's a great point.
They're very good. When they're beating Loyola by 5 goals, they're just a good team.
When they shoot, they're very accurate. They just do not get enough shots off. I totally agree.
6 goals for the Tigers, half of them from special teams on the extra man.
Another chance for Towson to claw back in here. You want to make this game close. You don't want to go out getting hounded on your home field by a team that Tony Seaman coached last year.
God Paradise couldn't get the shot out. Bodies down in midfield and whistles.
Testa was taken down off the ball. Someone must have clipped him. That'll be a loose ball push. Hopkins will gain possession. There'll be no penalty in the time served. Watch it here off the scrum. Testa comes up with the ball, and he's dumped from behind by Sturm.
Quentin, I guess there haven't been too many as you just take another look at this.
This looked like the Kentucky Derby yesterday going into, into the first turn.
There hasn't been too many freshmen that have started on defense for Johns Hopkins over the course of time, but he has been one of them, number 39, Brendan Testa.
Jamie Hubbard out for the Blue Jays now. That's Hubbard with the ball up on top. Radarola, and the shot off the mark, taken by Dave Rabiano.
This is the second midfield unit. We haven't seen much of this unit today. Jamie Hubbard, number 30, Fradarola, and Rabiano. With the TV timeouts and the pace of this game, Hopkins has really stayed with that first midfield unit.
And of course, with the defensive midfields the way they play now, Quint, you certainly save your legs that way. Used to be in the old days, you didn't have 3 midfields, you couldn't compete. Now you really only need about a midfield and a half.
There's that tough angled shot. Danahan hit one a couple of minutes ago, not this time.
Looks like you try to change the angle of that too a little bit, Quint.
Yeah, I think he was going to the well once too often.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And it looked like Harkin also cut off the angle that he scored the last goal on.
10:50 left in the third quarter. Hopkins with a 12-6 lead. Blue Jays with 1 more regular season game next Saturday. They're at Hofstra. Pass in front, and Schlott bounces it.
2, 1, 2.
Left-hand shot down low and a score. So the Blue Jays, Dave Rabiano.
Rabiano is 6th goal this season from the outside. He's really known for his left-handed whip shot. You'll see him drop the head of his stick down low and just zing this ball along the dirt, and it skips underneath Horgan, who is a left-hander. Watch it again. Danahan up top to Rabiano, and he just sticks that ball. Horgan looks like he got a piece of it and it deflected. Partial screen maybe also.
Yeah, well, Chris Anzalone moved out of the line of fire and looked like he may have walked right into the vision of John Horgan, which screened him off.
Whistle on the face-off.
Another turnover, well, not a turnover, but another mistake for Towson.
Blue Jays go to work. Connor Danahan.
Anytime you can get production, anytime you can get goals out of your second midfield, that goes a long way to winning close lacrosse games.
Justin Shaverly also out now for the Blue Jays.
We've seen O'Kelly, A.J. Hogan, and Connor Danahan do some scoring, but then that second midfield comes in, Rabiano. They'll get a goal. As a coach, I think Coach Hawkins has got to be very pleased with that.
Absolutely, and that allows him to play these guys.
Yeah.
Gives confidence in that unit.
Loose ball run down by Connor Danahan. Hopkins up 7, 13-6, 9:50 to play in the third.
And we've talked about Hopkins' schedule. They always play a brutal schedule. Towson this year, with 6 teams, has been in the top 10. Certainly take a backseat to no one in schedule.
Nearly picked off by Mike Matrin. Jays coming right back with numbers. Pass in front and a pipe. Shot taken by Hogan.
That's probably going to be a crease violation by A.J. Hogan. Somehow Horgan made this save. I think it might have hit the butt end of his stick, which is below his right hand. But A.J. Hogan slicing through the D all alone in front. And I don't know how Horgan made that save, but that was just a miraculous save.
The Tigers try to clear it up.
And that's the well said. Scott trying to clear it up has been a challenge throughout the day.
They've thrown some away. They've had a couple of offsides.
Yeah.
Steve Price with it for the Tigers. He scored a goal. Todd Paradise draws the double team. Back to the center, and the shot taken by Price on the save. And here comes Carcaterra.
And he's still on the attack. Usually a goalie will give it up and retreat, and
Not him.
he was giving it up and
going to the hole. Now he goes back. It's a high.
You can almost see him looking around like, am I supposed to be here? No, I better get back.
Carcaterra likes his time in the spotlight. Say that much. He got an assist this season, made a huge play in the opening game against Princeton, where he ran the ball down the field. This is to A.J. Hogan. I think that was the game-tying goal.
And then made the great save to save the game in the end. There's a shift down low and an easy score as Denahan got inside.
Danny Denahan maybe having his best game of the season.
So for Dan Denahan, that's the hat trick. Here's another look at it.
Watch the replay. Denahan from behind. We've seen him penetrate. He's got a short stick on him. Number 2 for Towson, the midfielder. That is a mismatch. Credit Denahan with picking that up. Watch the change of direction right there. It's called the face side. He manages to stay out of the crease. Good play by Denahan.
14-6 our score. Back right after this.
These are Cobalt tools, the finest mechanics tools you can buy in any store. They've got contoured handles for a better grip. And the K-drive that grabs fasteners on the side, not the corners, which means more torque, less rounding, and less slipping. So Cobalt tools can stand up to anything. From where I'm standing, that's a very good thing. Cobalt, setting the standard in mechanics tools. Made in the USA and guaranteed forever. Lowe's Home Improvement Warehouse and online.
This year, the NCAA Men's Lacrosse Championships will be returning to Byrd Stadium on Memorial Day weekend. The Division I semifinal games will take place on Saturday, May 29th. The Division III championship game will be played on Sunday, May 30th, to be followed by the Division I championship game on Memorial Day, Monday, May 31st. All seating is reserved, and tickets are $35 for the whole weekend. For groups of 20 or more, tickets are reduced to $30. Prepaid parking passes are also available and strongly recommended. Visa, MasterCard, and Discover are all accepted. For more information or to order your tickets, call 1-800-462-TURF or log on to ncaachampionships.com.
14-6, Hopkins on top. Reminder, Laxstock each Saturday morning from 10 to noon on 1570 AM. Gordon Boone and Mark Dixon talking lacrosse with you. Mark here.
Yeah, Mark, Tennessee intern.
Hopkins star.
Nice strip there from Brendan Peck that we mentioned his name throughout the day. Quiet, solid player. And here come the Jays on the attack again. Man, they are unrelenting.
Keith Danahan, a prime contender for a Lombard Securities Player of the Game. Oh, and there's a nice goal. Nice pass in front. Little slam dunk for Jason Molinar.
Molinar utilizing his height, which he has enough of. He's about 6'5", 6'6". Denahan with his 6th assist of the game. He's got 3 goals and 6 assists. Watch it here. Oregon comes out, misses the ball, and goes to Molinar, who's all alone. Another one of an alley-oop variation right there. Looks like Maryland Terrapin throwing the lob.
Terrence Morris. Molinar rams it in.
That's exactly right.
But a 9-goal lead there. Still a lot of time left to go here. 7 minutes left to go in this game. Or in the third quarter, I should say.
This third quarter, much like last year's third quarter. Hopkins has outscored Towson 5-1 here in the third quarter.
Very similar in that little late push by Towson late in the second quarter, and then UMBC and this week Hopkins just taking charge on the third.
UMBC carbon copy again.
UMBC was on an 8-goal third quarter run last year. Scored 8 straight.
And here come the Blue Jays again.
It's a 5-goal third quarter so far for Hopkins. They've outscored them 5-1 in the quarter.
I was very impressed with UMBC last year. And I think our matchup next week with Maryland starting to gain a little momentum, starting to score some more goals. UMBC, it's a rematch last year. Remember, UMBC beat Maryland.
To get their
playoff implications. Exactly. It should be a sensational game. That's on Saturday at 1.
And you know Dick Adele, of course, he has a big game here Wednesday night. Will ride that emotion of last year's loss is real heavy. Of course, he only has 2 days to prepare for that game, which I think will really hurt Maryland. Yeah, Maryland, as you said, Quinn, no sure lock for the NCAA tournament. They need a win here Wednesday, and they certainly need to beat UMBC. I think yesterday's win, though, will go a long way in helping them make the tournament. The tournament picture, as you guys mentioned at halftime, much clearer now than I think it was a couple of weeks ago.
Taking a look, Keith, back at the California 500 at lap 30. Jeff Burton in the lead. Jeff Gordon running second. And we'd like to remind everybody that we'll be going to that race live as soon as this lacrosse game is over this afternoon. The California 500. Burton in the lead. Jeff Gordon running number 2 on lap 30.
Yeah, Burton finished second yesterday in the Busch race. Number 99 car.
Shot off the pipe.
Yeah, Scotty, that was by J.D. Jones, a midfielder, second-team midfielder, getting some time. Tony Seaman played a lot of guys last week trying to find some offensive play. He is again. Not enough possession for the Towson offense, and when they have had some, they have turned the ball over.
J.D. Jones trying to run it down, getting plenty of attention from that Blue Jay defense.
Could help that time, you saw Dave Rabiano stick his nose in there.
Paradise got it out front to Price for the whistle.
Crease violation by Towson, off the ball.
It's another basic mental error, right?
Yeah. Well, interesting to see Robbie Dorr chasing that last ground ball. Kind of hesitated of going for the check. I wonder if after his third penalty, if the coaching staff said, hey, Robbie, you come back in this box one more time, and you probably have a seat there for the rest of the game.
There's a penalty marker down. Blue Jays still in possession. Dan Denahan.
Nice hustle from John Campbell, number 19. You see there in the white to cut him off. You know, Quentin, Scott, my wish list, obviously, because we're local, would to see a Loyola Johns Hopkins National Championship. Not just because they're two local teams, because I really believe they're the two best teams. I haven't seen Virginia other than on television, but I think top to bottom, these two teams are the best.
We've got a timeout, 4:50 left in the quarter. Hopkins on top, 15-6.
Toyota is crunching the numbers to get you into a new Corolla. Lease your Corolla now for just $169 a month with 1618 due at lease signing. You'll be driving the best-selling car in history, equipped with air, automatic, and a lot more. Or crunch your cost down to only $139 a month with 2538 due at lease signing. You get Corolla's legendary dependability, and your trade could cover the entire down payment. Toyota's crunching the numbers. Don't miss the savings.
Lax World, world's largest lacrosse store.
Have you seen our ball? No. Aren't you? Yeah. Do you mind if we take a look? We're in the middle of a game.
Featuring the Proton, the Eclipse, the Octane, and a new line of shorts, T-shirts, and the PLH 2000 helmet. Lax World is the leader.
Thanks.
Lax World and STX, the fuel that powers the game.
Dan Denahan having himself a pretty good day, career high 6 assists to go with his 3 goals, a 9-point day for Dan. His brother's got a couple of goals. Pretty good day for the Denahan family.
Not a bad day at the all.
Danny Denahan has 50 points now in the season. After sitting out last year, came back with really a renewed passion and renewed intensity this season.
Nice save by Horrigan. Shot fired by A.J. Hogan.
But that will make you open your eyes a little bit when you have the chance to look at the team from the outside. Look, you're an outsider, and you learn to appreciate a little bit more.
Pass loose at midfield. Hogan going left to right, back to left. Good pass in front. Oh, another save by Horgan.
Horgan made 2 point-blank saves. A.J. Hogan slicing through the defense, looking like Gale Sayers. The way he cuts through
football.
those white jerseys. It's amazing. It's so smooth.
Gale Sayers from Long Island.
The Hopkins Comet, they call him. The Hopkins Comet.
He is quick.
in front. Quick stick couldn't quite get the handle on it with Saul Kuhlman.
Morgan with a nice possession, or nice sequence right there on the Hopkins offensive possession. Came up big.
Walt with it, yeah.
Yeah, it's trouble. Good idea, bad execution.
That's what you talked about, Matt O'Kelly, in the complete game that he can play. And that's a play right there that doesn't make any highlight tapes. But Matt O'Kelly, isolated against Waltman, who can handle the ball very effectively, he makes the check and the ball goes out of bounds. Look at the differential shots.
There's not a goalie in the country is going to stand up to that onslaught. A 10-shot advantage for Hopkins.
Been pretty much that way all 3 quarters.
And I think if you're Tony Seaman and Paul Canabine and Stan Ross, Quinn, you have to really analyze what has happened this year. You have to address that in your recruiting. You have to go out and get some short stick midfielders who can play, some long stick minis, and address your defensive end of the ball.
15-6, Hopkins with a commanding lead. Under 3 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. California 500 coming up right after this game. Driscoll with it.
Driscoll's got a 2-time junior college All-American as a whistle stops play, and Hopkins turns it over. Driscoll, 2-time All-American at Herkimer Community College.
Went to Corning East High School, which is also the high school of Todd Cavallero, one of the assistant coaches for Hopkins. See him on the far sideline occasionally. He's done a terrific job. His first year, he coached down with John Hawes at Washington College, went to Hopkins, and then Hawes brought him west.
West. Go west, young man.
Paradise. Working in on the far side. Ridden back behind the goal by Brent Bishop.
Real strong defensive play there by Shook, cutting off the angle, forcing him around the net. Shook's got from Upper Arlington, Ohio, Upper Arlington High School in Ohio. Ohio State with a chance to make the NCAA. We saw them play Hopkins Cup a couple of weeks ago.
Keith Smith with it.
Mike Abeles, their goalie, your favorite goalie we've seen.
Tell you what,
you love that guy.
I love the guy. Michelin man.
Bryce tries to feed it over, and Colombo chases after it, but it's blue ball. 1:32 left in the quarter.
Story of the game, unforced errors. That was probably a little more forced than unforced, but Towson's ball handling anything but sharp today, and it's really cost them dearly in terms of offensive continuity. 24-13, the turnover department. Towson, that's the stat you don't want to lead in.
Now Lagos flips it over to Carcaterra. To get it across the midfield.
Gordy Combs, Towson's football coach, has joined us up here to watch the game from the skybox, and they'll tell you turnovers can kill a team.
In on goal, Rabiano. A little undecided what he wanted to do with it. And another turnover, right out in front. And a layup,
slam dunk, you name it.
Dan Denahan.
I love the way Denahan fakes Torgan here. He just is very patient. He walks around the front of the cage, multiple fakes, and buries it. Off of a turnover, Campbell threw the ball to Rabiano. Watch the fakes. High, low, high. Manages to stay out of the crease. Anytime the goalie falls, that means you've generally done a great job of faking him.
He didn't do a whole lot there, but Dan Denahan, now a 10-point day for him. 4 goals and 6 assists.
Not like Chris Turner last week for UMBC, really exploiting the defense. And again, you hit the nail on the head. The turnover forced the goal, and John Campbell with a very errant pass.
Denahan with a shot for that Varsity Journeys Player of the Game honor. Having a big afternoon, and here comes Hopkins Wheaton with it.
Now, Kelly, I think, had realized that he had a real advantage there, kind of shot it before he had it. Here come the Blue Jays again. Scott and Quinn, I thought Hopkins is
ball right out front. Just fired over the top that time. He scored one like that earlier in the quarter.
I thought Hopkins did a great job of taking Towson out of the emotion out of this game early, and has just there's a lot of poise and a lot of class that the senior class and sort of the upperclassmen kind of exude. They've shown it today.
One last run at the cage here. Time running out in the quarter. 6 seconds left. Loose at midfield. Woo! Bouncer almost got it on goal. And that's the end of the third quarter. So Hopkins getting the best of the Towson Tigers here at Minnigan. 16-6 after 3.
He helps Cuban defectors become Major League Baseball players in America. Monday, the Cuban All-Stars take on the O's right here at Camden Yards. Could this be the ticket for our sports agent Joe Cubas to find his next star? Find out Monday at 5 and 11, only on 2 News.
Charm City is known as a friendly town. But what do you do if you're a landlord and your new tenant is getting a little too friendly? The next People's Court, Monday at 4, followed by 2 News at 5.
We were there when it was still just a game, when winning or losing didn't matter, and a desire to play was all you needed. Of course, that was then. The game has changed, but not our commitment to the cutting edge in lacrosse equipment and merchandise, like the Warrior Odyssey, with product development by the world's best lacrosse players, and the C2 from Sport Helmets, the company that brought you the #1 selling helmet in sports, setting new standards for performance, comfort, and value, while protecting the brains of the game. Backrack Raisin, over 95 years of lacrosse tradition.
There is one card you can carry that protects you whenever the unexpected strikes. It's the new Preferred Climb card from the law offices of Stephen L. Miles. It's imprinted with your very own name, and it entitles you to free advice from your own lawyers. Start carrying the card now. To get yours free, call the law offices of Stephen L. Miles at 685-8444. That's 685-8444.
Let's talk about it.
This is all you need to drive a new car or truck from Heritage. It's this simple. Just sign and drive. More than 3,000 vehicles, all available with no out-of-pocket cash. Make no monthly payment till August. Save with 0% financing. Don't delay. Hurry to Heritage, where all you need to do is sign and drive.
Levitt's Furniture, Maryland and Virginia only. Final days. Bankruptcy. Going out of business. Make an offer on anything in the store. If your offer's within reason, it's yours. So hurry in and make an offer. Final days.
You're watching ABC2, Maryland's official Preakness station.
Who's scoring? Well, in the big picture, Hopkins. They lead 16-6, breaking it down between the attack and midfield right there.
We saw a shot of the Shepherd Pratt Health Center, Hospital Center.
Blue Jays with the ball and a commanding 10-goal lead.
Coach Hawes talked about turnovers at halftime, and we saw a very sharp quarter from the team in blue.
Very focused.
Well, you talked about peaking at the right time of the year. It's May, and Hopkins at the top of their game.
Yeah, Scott, you look at Loyola, 2 very impressive wins the last week, one over Delaware. Duke yesterday laid it on Penn State, 22-9. So the Green Riders.
Dylan Schlott adding to his goal total. The crease attack man living up to his name right there. Hanging around on the crease, taking the pass and finishing.
Schlott from O'Kelly finds the seam in his own defense. There's not a Towson defender within 3 or 4 yards of number 8. You got to play that man. If you're going to give anyone the shot, that's not where you want the shot coming from. This is like letting Will Chamberlain get the ball in front of the hoop for the easy dunk.
We talked about Hopkins peaking. Towson season kind of went the other way. They had 3 quick wins, and then they played competitive against Syracuse and Loyola, but the last half, they've run out of gas.
Yeah, I think it's difficult. I've never been involved with a team where you're not really playing for anything. And somewhere along the line, when Towson was eliminated from the playoffs, it's very difficult to continue playing with that enthusiasm and that emotion. And, you know, I've never been there, so I don't know.
Yeah, it comes down to pride. I've been there, and it comes down to pride. You have to say to yourself, you know, am I going to take up space, or am I going to play hard and play with pride? I think the Orioles are going through some of that right now. They have to look themselves in the mirror and say, hey, I'm a professional athlete. I got to play with pride. Towson has to do the same thing right there.
And they've got 140 games left to get better.
Yeah, exactly. Towson, of course, does not. But, you know, coaches
Well, you would think, especially in this game, they're not as good as Hopkins, but a lot of emotion here, a rivalry, a chance to pull a big upset on television. But last week, really flat against UMBC, and today just kind of outmanned.
Yeah, today I think outmanned, too. But then again, Scott, you have to look at the big picture. If I'm a young player for Towson, Tony Seaman and his staff are evaluating for next year. Sure. 17 new players coming in. Nothing is guaranteed. I'm sure he's going to tell his team that in the offseason. Now's the time to open some eyes. One way to do that is not to pack it in.
It was a 9-5 game late in the second quarter, but right now 17-6 as Whedon goes in, and he fires wide. And a reminder, we'll be joining the California 500 right after the game.
And we'll have our Lombard Securities Player of the Game and SPX Wax World Play of the Game.
Danahan was stripped, and now here come the Tigers.
34 for Towson, Kevin Mayran, a sophomore, one of those younger players we're talking about.
Yeah.
It gets in the game and takes the ball away from Danahan.
Long stick going in. That's Chris Anzalone.
And he's at a place I'm sure he hasn't seen in the lacrosse field in years. The opposite team. Goal. But good clear by Anzalone.
Keith Smith looking for some room, and he gets tripped up. Ball out of play to Hopkins.
That is what Brasco, Don Brasco, only a freshman, that is what he is known for. He has a devastating array of checks. Earlier we saw a kayak check. This is just a standard over-the-head check right there.
Smith goes down.
Good look at it here.
And you can see this one coming a mile away. You can see Brasco sizes it up, waits a couple seconds, and then Smith, as a shorter player, has a tough time because the player can go over his head here.
Yeah. Brasco, a highly coveted high school player.
Got a check right there. Spencer Ford looked like he wanted to unload.
I mentioned the freshman class that Tony Seaman has coming in. Several players from the Baltimore area. Goalie from St. Louis and tie-in. John Haas also has done a good job recruiting already. Has some commitment for a couple of Baltimore kids.
Brown gives it up to Hubbard. So some guys who don't get a lot of minutes getting some extra.
Yeah, Hubbard was the B Conference Player of the Year. You've heard us talk a lot this year about the A Conference. Well, the B Conference, Friends, Archbishop Curley, some of those teams, and Jamie Hubbard, the Player of the Year last year.
Oh, the headshot taken by Fraterola.
John Carroll.
John Carroll, yeah.
Brian Reese, former Maryland player, helping coach at John Carroll.
Checked out on the track.
Dylan Schlott, maybe he's down. Maybe Dylan's first penalty of the year on a check.
Take a look at this hit. Dylan Schlott on the near side, and if you're a photographer here, you better watch out. Oh, gosh.
I tell you what,
into the pole vault pit.
And right into our TV, yeah, into the speaker. Oh, man. Tell you what, Jay Horowitz, I believe, freshman midfielder number 12.
That's either a speaker or a monitor.
From Fairfax, Virginia.
There was the shot by Fraterola.
Oh.
Everybody okay? Glad
Looks like it, yeah.
Glad to see that. Fourth quarter, 11:57 left. This one not in question right now. Hopkins on top, 17-6. Only one second half goal for Towson. They trail 10-5 at the half.
Half of their goals have come on the extra man. So this unit's done a nice job.
16 seconds left on the penalty. Pass out front. Spencer Ford, some room. Bouncer into the crease. Oh, Talia Logan. Paradise got checked, and he's down.
Big John's a big boy, all 6'5" of you, number 44.
6'5", 225 senior from Georgetown Prep. And if you've been paying attention to the high school lacrosse in the area, Georgetown Prep and Landon have proved this season that they can play with the big boys.
Landon just beat Gilman this past week. Earlier they beat St. Mary's, so they are for real.
Co-captain Todd Paradise walking off on the far side. The trainer out with him.
I think penalties have to be an area of concern for if you're Coach John Hawes. Too many penalties today.
Yeah, you can get away with it in this one, but in a tight game when you get into the NCAAs,
8 penalties for John Hawkins.
Scott, lap 50 has been completed in the California 500. Jeff Gordon in the lead as we take a look here, and Jeff Burton is in second. So number 24, Jeff Gordon, making another run at another Winston Cup race.
And here come the Blue Jays. Fast breaking. Pass up front, and shut down low to score. So Hopkins putting on a clinic here.
Guess who?
There he is again.
Dan Denahan. That's
yep.
right. From O'Kelly, who has the last 2 assists, and I think he has at least 3 assists for the game. Hopkins making the stop defensively. The penalty is released, the first penalty. Wasor comes flying out of the box, feeds O'Kelly, and this is a textbook fast break. The point man feeds down low. The slide is there. You see Anzalone, number 30 for Towson, get there a bit late. And Denahan beats Horgan low. Dan Denahan.
11 points, right?
A
5 goals.
monster game.
5 goals and 6 assists, I believe. There it is, yeah.
Ties a Hopkins record.
It's owned by a variety of people, including Joe Cowan, Jack Thomas, and Matt Panetta, real familiar names. And you can go back to 1942, Charles Thomas, and of course, Billy Morrill, real famous name in Hopkins lacrosse circles, 1959.
Most assists in a game for Hopkins would be 9 by Mickey Wester. Most goals in a game is also 9 by William Logan.
If it's more than one, it's assist.
Assist die?
Joe Cowan still active in the day-to-day operation of...
no, with Cowan Trucking,
I mean, in the institution
no, he's
itself.
out of coaching right now. He, as you know, he coached last season with Coach Seaman.
Tony Seaman, sure. But he is really active in the school itself.
Yes.
Joe used to play great football player, too. Got drafted by the Colts, as a matter of fact, I believe. Spent some time in training camp with them.
Blue Jays just kind of spreading it out now around the perimeter. 10.5 minutes left to play. 18-6 Hopkins. Denahan, a huge day, 11 points on 5 goals and 6 assists.
The flash to the head.
Connor Denahan gets worked over.
Be another extra man for Hopkins. But I'm sure, Scott, when the schedule came out, John Haas was probably dreading this day. For a variety of reasons, not knowing how the season would unfold, but also knowing that Towson had some firepower coming back, and they would probably be, at this point in time, playing for a playoff berth. As was not the case.
Kevin Mayrin with the slash.
Got him in the helmet. But I was impressed with the way all the parties associated with it handled it this week. There was a terrific article in the Sun this morning. It didn't get ugly. I think everyone was real honest about it. And I think in the long run, as we were talking earlier, I think both universities benefit. Hopkins with Hawes and Towson with Tennessee.
Yeah, we discussed it at length a couple of weeks ago when we did the Hopkins-Ohio State game, what happened. But it's over with, and now both parties moving on.
Hopkins still with their first-team middie in there, Hogan. There's A.J. Hogan, and bounces a one-hopper home. A.J. Hogan makes it 19-6.
Hogan from O'Kelly. Matt O'Kelly now with the 3 consecutive assists. This is just a simple pass play where they set up Hogan for about a 12-yard bounce shot. Horgan's there. But as I said earlier, this field's extremely hard. You can see how dry and hard it is. This ball can take some wicked hops.
So Hogan with the hat trick, his 3rd goal of the game. 19-6. Hopkins in the lead.
During Adventure 99, buy a Dodge Intrepid, and Dodge will give you your choice of a $1,000 cash allowance or a super vacation package worth up to $1,800 at the new Universal Studios Islands of Adventure theme park in Orlando, Florida. It's the adventure of a lifetime, and we have the rides to prove it. See the friendly Dodge dealer near you.
Guys, I'm coming in. What is it, Mike? Is it too loose? No, it's my kitchen. I want to remodel, but I don't know where to start. What? Dave, you're the kitchen guy. Get in here. Okay, here's what you do.
When it comes to home improvement, there's no better team to work with than Team Lowe's. Lowe's, proud sponsor of Winston Cup team number 31 and its World Championship pit crew.
Hey, Larry, let me talk to that kitchen guy again.
It's free.
We're back at Minnigan Stadium. Some of the fans on this breezy afternoon here, and they're Towson fans. They haven't enjoyed it because Hopkins has had the best of this thing just about from start to finish. 19-6 the score, 9:55 left, and Towson wins the faceoff.
And McCartel with the faceoff. We talked about him a few minutes ago from Arundel High School. And it looks like that John Haas has got some players in here because this is their face-off unit. We haven't seen much of this year.
Todd Paradise in on goal, fakes and then fires wide. Towson maintains possession.
Brian Carcaterra still in goal. 9 minutes left, and John is
for the shot, Keith.
Oh, for 53-19, and that is a very, very telling statistic today. Turnovers and shots on goal.
Paradise out front, in with the left hand and a good save. Carcaterra. Spin pass behind the back.
And it achieved its purpose.
Showtime.
Yeah, that's P.J. DeConza with the ball.
That is an unbelievable pass.
He almost sensed he was going to do something. He started chopping those feet. I thought he was either going to take off, but then the nifty pass.
Well, this situation's got up 13 goals. He is going to look for every opportunity, as Quinn says, to take center stage here.
8:40 left. Again, a reminder, the California 500 coming up right after this one.
I wouldn't even dream of trying a play like that, let alone pulling it off.
Not dreaming?
Never,
no,
not even close. No, not even close.
It's got to be every goalie's dream. Tie game, NCAA finals, make a save, run down the length of the field, and feed a teammate to win the game. Come on.
Or to score
it yourself.
Or score your goal.
If you're going to dream big. And there's a shot in the score.
I think it was Joe Driscoll, Scott, number 11.
Yeah, that is Driscoll, the junior from Corning, New York.
Hopkins' 20th goal. Driscoll, the transfer, as Keith mentioned earlier, from Herkimer Community College, just spins against Anzalone. Watch it here. Spins, beats Anzalone, ducks the stick, and beats Oregon. 20 goals for Hopkins, unassisted by Driscoll. Really, his playing time has increased tremendously early in the season. The Hopkins-Syracuse game that we did, the Hopkins-Loyola game, he didn't play much, but he has improved rapidly.
All Hopkins in the second half. They've outscored Towson 10-1 with 10-5 halftime lead. 20-6 to score. 8 minutes left to play.
You know, Dick Adele watching this game closely.
And Mike Murray scores.
Watching this game closely, Scott. He's got Towson here on Wednesday, and Maryland in a great position to get a win going into UMBC.
Mike Murray, junior from North Hartford High School, lives in Jarrettsville. His 5th goal this season. This accuracy is terrific. Carcaterra holds his ground, but he just pings the far pipe. Watch it again. Mike Murray going to the net. Tony Seaman now playing some younger players.
Yeah.
Hey, why not?
Yeah. Carl Ruck, we mentioned him a few times today. Carl had a real good relationship with many of the coaches in this area, particularly in Hartford County. He's gotten a few players over the course of time from up there. Carl, we mentioned the man that Tony Seaman replaced. 30 years to coach here, the big man, they call him. He is a big man and a good man.
It'll be interesting to see how Tony Seaman's demographics, his recruiting demographics, are at Towson. Right now, the Towson starting lineup only has one New Yorker, Anzalone, whereas the Hopkins starting lineup only has one Marylander.
Correct.
You can slot.
You could bet there will be a few more New Yorkers on Thursday.
Well, he already has at least 4 or 5 kids from the Long Island, Westchester area coming down. Hey, Tony has said the last couple of years that he has a hard time getting the local players in because they want to move on to whether it be Virginia or Princeton, particularly some of the A-Conference players. So we'll see if John is able to bring them back.
Well, the recruiting pool a little bigger for Tony at Towson maybe than it was at Hopkins as well. Pete Thomas in for Hopkins now.
Towson is a very attractive campus, guys. It's got a lot to offer. Not that Hopkins doesn't, obviously. Hopkins with its own, the city, a thriving, energetic place to be. But Tony will have to adjust to that. Sell Towson on what he has to sell.
6:47 left to play. Nick Murtha now in goal for the Blue Jays, so Brian Carcaterra's day appears to be over.
Quint, does the Hopkins tradition still sell itself in terms of recruiting?
We got some pushing and shoving going on and flags down.
It's Chris Lynch, number 2 for Hopkins. He hasn't played much this year. The senior attackman, so Chris is getting a chance to play, and he's...
John Oz is all upset.
Well, you don't want to lose your poise here, Scott. Either team.
The referee sorting that. Good look at Coach Oz and Coach Volker right there, the defense coordinator with the sunglasses on.
Does the Hopkins tradition sell itself?
Well, that is why I went to Hopkins, you know, the combination of athletics and academics. The fact that Hopkins hasn't won a championship since 1987, going back 12 years, probably weighs on some of these high school athletes, but I think with Coach Oz at the helm, I think Hopkins will get back to that championship game. You know, it's tough. When you grow up in Baltimore, it's a small town, I can understand why kids want to go to school in Virginia, North Carolina, and Duke, and the opportunities now for these high school athletes, these student athletes, to go to great schools and to play lacrosse at a number of institutions.
Yeah.
You know, things have changed.
Well, now you have Delaware right up the street. You have Penn State, of course. A lot of different schools. You have Hofstra, of course. They've always been successful in lacrosse.
But lacrosse at Hopkins is the #1 sport.
Yeah, yes, it is.
We saw the Tiger there. It looks a little down in the dumps.
The press Tiger right now. What you would be if you're down 13. You see the tournament seed.
Yeah, this is a pure speculation on our part. These are the USIL rankings, and we're talking about seeds. See Loyola and Hopkins, 1 and 2, and Virginia. I think those teams are guaranteed a first-round bye. The 4th seed will probably either go to Duke or the winner of the Georgetown-Syracuse game, which is next Saturday, and then Delaware and Princeton, we can guess, will be definitely in.
You would think, Princeton, to me, Princeton is seated higher than Syracuse because they beat them on their, you know, in their own house. Beat them, you know, they have the same record.
Right. The USILA ranking will have no bearing on the tournament selection.
Interesting game. Delaware came up to Loyola this week, jumped all over the Greyhounds early. I think they led 6-1, and then the Hounds put it in gear and took charge.
Yeah,
They're kind of a wide-open run-and-gun bunch.
Absolutely.
Delaware can score some goals.
There's another. You would think they're Towson fans right there, thinking about the exam they have to take tomorrow, I believe.
John Oz still working the game over on the Hopkins bench. The only player and head coach to win national championships, played on national championship teams at North Carolina in 81 and 82, and then coached at Washington College last year and won a national title, and he would love to do it on the Division I level this year at Hopkins.
Adam Baxter with a nice clear for
great wheels.
Yeah, nice speed there. There's Ryan Lackowitz.
Baxter out of Severna Park High School.
And the Blue Jays control.
You know, we mentioned the A Conference in high school. The Anne Arundel County League this year is outstanding. Annapolis, Broadneck, Arundel, Severna Park, all capable of winning the state championship.
Had a Hopkins player down on the other end. Whistle stops play. And the training staff will attend to him. Can't see the number.
Can't make the number out either. Again, a reminder, California 500 coming up after this game. 6:10 left to go in the game.
I think it might be Fraterola 27, but I'm not positive.
Did see a 7, yeah.
You can see his right ankle was wrapped prior to the game, and it looks like he probably just twisted that again. Gary Horseman, trainer for Johns Hopkins, out there attending to him.
We're going to take a timeout. 6 minutes left to play. Hopkins with a comfortable 20-7 lead.
For people who really get into movies, we introduce Comcast Digital Cable. Get over 175 channels, including up to 35 premium channels, featuring multiple screens of HBO and Showtime.
You talking to me?
Call 410-427-5050 now and get free installation on 2 TVs. Plus, get an entire month of basic cable free. Call now and you'll be enjoying Comcast in your home tomorrow. Order Comcast Digital Cable now.
Well, there you see the two head coaches, Tony Seaman on the left, John Haas on the right. It's been John Haas's kind of day. His team up 20-7.
Good friends, Quint. You know, they a lot of respect for each other. There was certainly no animosity at all between those two gentlemen over this coaching switch here. NCAA tournament coming up. The women's pairings are this afternoon. Men's pairings next Sunday after our UMBC Maryland game. Joe Boylan Scott, the athletic director at Loyola,
on the committee,
tournament chairman. Tough job this year.
Yeah. There's always somebody who thinks they word serve.
Hopefully in the near future, the tournament can be expanded to 16 teams and get 4 more involved.
Hopkins with some patience, and then Chris Lynch fires.
Yeah, Towson, the new goaltender too. Quint, number 40.
Rob Murphy from Littleton, Colorado. Junior goalie.
Ooh, and we, of course, know what happened in Littleton, Colorado 2 weeks ago. Rob went to Arapahoe High School in Littleton, so I'm sure his thoughts with everyone back there. Arapahoe, yeah.
Under 5 minutes left, 20-7.
Quiet crowd here at Towson. Good crowd on hand for this game today. Anytime Hopkins plays locally.
Start the bus this time.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And in on goal and a score for the Tigers, J.D. Jones.
J.D. Jones on the far side, unassisted. Jones, a junior from Jamesville, DeWitt, which is a suburb of Syracuse. Here he is, right-handed, untouched, basically, and beats Murtha, the freshman goaltender for Hopkins. Pretty simple. You can see not many starters in the ball game for Hopkins. Shook and Testa still in the game down low, but defensively,
you know, the game doesn't mean anything at this point. I mean, it's pretty much been determined, but Hopkins pretty proud of their defensive record, how they've kept that goals against average down, and there's still probably a lot of pride on that end of the field.
And you'll hear about it in practice too, Scott.
These guys in single digits.
Absolutely. You know, Quinn has touched on this a few times. Practice is a big part of any winning team, and when you have players that come to practice motivated that don't play a lot, it only can strengthen your team, and good coaches make that happen. And I'd be very surprised if this unit doesn't play hard and doesn't try to play well, because you always want to play well.
I should mention, Keith, that Brian Carcaterra's moved into 5th all-time with saves, came in with 469, and of course the man sitting next to you is number 2 on that list with 573 saves.
I'm sure it was kind of like you and Brooks Robinson doing the games when you did the Orioles game. Kind of like what I'm feeling right now about my partner here.
Well,
being next to one of the game's great ones.
If we televise any games next year, you can guarantee that Carcaterra is going to become the number 2 saves guy behind probably John Marcus, and maybe even will catch Marcus.
Well, we want to tell the fans, a lot of people have been asking that. We are planning on doing another package of games next year. We're scheduled to do another game of the week. We look forward to it. It's been a lot of fun.
Back for our final game of the week broadcast next Saturday. Don't forget, it's Saturday at 1, not Sunday next week. We're in College Park, Maryland, and UMBC. Shot out front, a good save.
Murphy with the save.
Todd Winchester, senior from the Severn School. That outside shot.
Take another look at it.
Watch Winchester just let this go.
Hard and low, right?
Hard and low, and Murphy with a nice save.
John Weston is the assistant coach for Towson, in charge of the goaltenders.
Gentleman who's had a hand in the development of a lot of young goaltenders.
I love the way he coaches the position. Worked with Carcaterra. He worked with Carcaterra last year, though, as an assistant to Tony, and then moved over to the Towson staff.
Todd Paradise with it for the Tigers. 2:40 left to play. Paradise in on goal, and he scores. So the junior from Falston, the co-captain, fires one in, and it's 20-9. Towson has scored the last 3 goals.
No quick, Todd Paradise, he was a youth teammate, a rec league teammate of Chris Turner from UMBC. Both went to Falston, or both live in the Falston area.
Paradise only a junior, dodging right-handed here. Makes nice penetration, beats John Brasco, and then just fires the ball past Murtha. Paradise, a junior, as we said, from Falston, a kid who I think is an outstanding athlete, just needs to develop more confidence.
Yes.
And go to the goal. I think Towson's got a bunch of midfielders who are better than they realize and need to go to the goal and make things happen.
Hartel with his third straight face-off that he's won.
And he said, I'm taking this one home. I'm tired of pads.
What pads? You can do that when you're down 11 or up 11.
20-9. Hopkins led 4-2 after 1. They led 10-5 at the half, 16-6 after 3.
Towson's always had sensational face-off specialists, Timmy Lucky and Mark Willers.
Here's a quick shot taken by Josh Kornick. And again, the save made by the Blue Jays in goal, Nick Murtha.
I guess in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, their talent depth was as fertile as any team in the country. Lindsey Dixon.
Rob Scheck, Lindsey Dixon, Tony Millen, Blatchley. They went to the national championship game in 1991. They lost to North Carolina. That was a team that was loaded with talent. Stuart Crotty.
I thought I could drop some names. I tell you what, I'm not in his. I am not in his league. And I thought I was the all-time name dropper.
I'm going to drop the California 500 because that's coming up next. We'll be joining that live right after this game. A couple of honors to pass out. I think Dan Denahan has had himself
a Lombard security kind of a game.
It's a Lombard securities kind of game for him.
I think a free stock should come in.
Yeah, what was he got? His IRA donation for the year paid or something?
And we'll roll that over, too.
Roll over until the NCAA tournament. Don Haas would be quite happy with that.
Turnover there. Hopkins gets it back.
And the Lax World play of the game. Today at halftime, the 1974 team for Towson was honored. On that team, Jim Darkangelo, owner, entrepreneur of Lax World.
Yeah, that was a great team. Bobby Green played on that team. Joe Doherty.
Richard Mollett.
Yeah, a lot of familiar names from Baltimore lacrosse circles. Boy, that's my year. The mid-70s, I used to follow lacrosse in high school. Frank Ursa was in Maryland, and Mike O'Neill was at Hopkins, and Franz Littleberger.
J.D. Jones back behind the goal. Oh, he got tackled and still scored. What was that from Hopkins? Dimitrov, I believe.
Tom, put some wood on it. That's why you don't play a whole lot.
J.D. Jones, who played for the Iroquois national team this summer in the World Games, so you know he has ability and he has talent. Watch it here, dodging from behind, left-handed.
Oh.
He's tackled, somehow manages to keep his balance and scores. Defensively, you'd like right here to go with a double team. For the blue jersey standing around as J.D. Jones scores his second goal in the fourth quarter.
J.D. a junior, he'll be back next year, and Tony Seaman happy he has not quit today.
20-10 the score, final seconds. Hopkins will be 10-1 with this win and riding a 9-game win streak. Over on the other side, Hopkins, their Towson falls to 4-7, and they will have lost 7 of their last 8.
Towson plays its last home game, actually last 2 home games, Wednesday and Saturday.
Wednesday night, 7:30 against Maryland is a makeup game.
That's a big one. That's a big one for Maryland.
Blue Jays trying to get it upfield now, under 10 seconds left. And that's going to do it. Time is run out. Hopkins, a 2010 winner over Towson, will return to Minnigan Stadium right after this.
Lacrosse Game of the Week, brought to you by Wells Discount Liquor, serving Maryland since 1937, and Lombard Securities, Baltimore's source for independent financial advice, where promises made are promises kept.